this is the problem with being offended by a joke, right? The problem, we've all got different boundaries, we've all got different triggers, right? Like, I'll give you an example of this. This is a good example. I think my friend Paul, for instance, he was once mugged in Manchester, so now he can't watch Coronation Street. Right? That's his trigger. That's the accent sets him off. That's his boundary, right? And like, I've got a similar thing. I once broke my arm because I slipped and fell into a pile of horse excrement. So now I can't listen to you too. We've all got different boundaries, and I find it so weird to get offended by jokes. It's essentially a theatrical thing. Like, loads of things offend me, but that's my problem, isn't it? Loads of things like misuse of the English language really fucks me up. I can't believe it. In fact, I broke up with my boyfriend because he couldn't spell parallelogram. I was like, fuck that. Oh, and there's that announcement, I hear it all the time on the train. I heard it on the train coming here, actually. The train terminates here. No, I don't think it does. I think the journey terminates here. I think the train is probably going to live to see another day, isn't it? Really annoys me. What else offends me? What else? Kids, children, fuck up. Like who does that? Anyone have kids, reproduce, have you bred? They've bred, okay. I probably can't stand them like parasites, aren't they? Like, because I think, but I don't get it. Like, I see friends of mine, their lives ruined by this phenomenon. Totally ruined. You know? What happens to people? Like, you're young, you probably haven't reproduced, and you've never done that. Yeah, don't do it. Like, what happens to people? Because you get to a certain age, don't you? You're attractive young couple, you know, getting on the property ladder, getting married. Is that the point that you say to yourself, oh, I know what I'll do now, I know what I'll do. Why don't I invite a really noisy dwarf to come and live with me, who's just going to steal all my time and all my money and resent me for it? And secretly look forward to the day I die, just so it can pilfer whatever scraps remain of the joyless shipwreck that my life became. Well, you can do it if you want. I'm just saying, I've lost so many friends this year, actually because of politics. I've lost loads of friends because of politics. And I'm not even joking, because I'll be honest with you, I did vote leave in the EU referendum. And that doesn't normally fucking happen, it really doesn't. And I've lost so many, I mean, it takes guts though, doesn't it? It takes guts to admit that you voted leave. It's a bit like trying to spend a Scottish £10 note in an English shop, you know? Like, because you are technically entitled to do that, but there's going to be a fucking row, isn't there? Let's be absolutely honest about that. And I don't get it. Why can't we just debate? Why can't we? I've lost friends. You could count the number of friends I've got left on one of Abu Hamza's hands. I just don't get. Anyway, I'm going to tell you what happened. I lost my two closest friends in the world, Colin and James, my two best friends in the whole world over Brexit, right? And James is actually my stepbrother, but I call him a friend because we're not blood relations. Okay, like legally I could finger him, you know. And I have actually, I did, but that's a totally separate story. But we went out one day, we went out to a gastropub, right, because we're pricks, yeah, and we were there. The three of us, after the general election, this was last year, after me, Colin and James, we were there, and they're very middle class, Colin and James, you can imagine, like, the skinny jeans and the check shirt, big old beards. It's very fashionable, isn't it, to look like an anorexic version of Charles Darwin, very fashionable. And they're so middle class, they're so fucking middle, privately educated. I went to a shitty comic school, you know, I don't have any. In fact, you know, we had none of those advantages. You know, I remember when I said to my UCAS advisor that I wanted to apply to Oxford University, he laughed so hard, he actually died. I mean, it wasn't a few years later from thrombosis, but, you know, I like to think it was connected, because he did laugh a lot, you know. So anyway, I'm there in this gastropub with Colin and James, and we're talking about Brexit, and of course they're doing the same usual fucking thing, and they start saying, oh, anyone who voted leave is a fascist. Right, this is the point, that word fascism has a very specific meaning. I don't like this spread of what it means. It means something, it means the KKK, Combat 18, Mumsnet, right? That's what it means. You can't mess around with these definitions. So I was just sitting there thinking, I'm going to say something, I'm going to fucking say something, and I did. All I said was that I don't think that voting in support of the EU is a particularly left-wing position to hold, right? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm just saying that the EU is a neoliberal, technocratic, undemocratic, unaccountable right-wing bloc that was set up by the super rich to protect the interests of the super rich, right? It's essentially a Thatcherite project. It's there to protect market forces and protectionism over the values of democracy. I think, like, left-wing people voting for the EU, that's not so much turkeys voting for Christmas, that's turkeys plucking themselves, clambering into the oven, and anally penetrating themselves with sage. And they weren't happy about this. They really were having none of it. They started shouting at me in the middle of a gastro club, actually shouting at me. I found it so weird, like they were so angry. I worked it out. There is so much pent-up rage in the middle classes. They're so angry. Even the food they'd ordered was so angry. It was all like smashed avocado, pulled pork and torn chicken, dismembered quail and waterboarded quiche, or whatever you have. Laying into me, and Colin saying to me, well, you must be xenophobic. I can't be xenophobic, I've got a German Shepherd, this is ridiculous. I can't be, And then James says to me, well, do you know what, the EU has done so much for gay rights, you must be suffering from internalised homophobia. What the fuck does that mean? Have I got like an anti-gay pancreas, is that what that is? I mean, I do hate myself, I do, but it's got nothing to do with being gay. I hate myself because I'm an over-opinionated functioning alcoholic with an allergy to spinach. So we're having this row, and then Colin steps in again. Colin says, you fuck the younger generation, you should think about the younger generation, right? Because if we'd have lowered the voting age to 16, Remain would have won it. Remain, I'm like, yeah, but so what do 16-year-olds know about politics? Fuck all. You guys, you don't know fuck all about politics, do you? You don't care. Like, what are you interested in, statistic-wise, beating yesterday's wanking record? About right. Yeah, he said, yeah, there we go, fucking hate young people. So jealous. Do you even know who Joan Collins is? Do you know Joan? No, he doesn't. It's depressing, isn't it? Joan Collins was a really famous drag queen back in the 80s. If you Google him, it's a fascinating story, Colin and James shouting calling me a racist, calling me a homophobe, all of this sort of. They say, lower the voting age, lower it to 16, then we'll win everything. Yeah, that's ridiculous. No, if you're going to do that, if you're going to lower the voting age just to fit your political agenda, why stop at 16? Why not 10? You know? Why not make it 4? We can have Iggle Piggle as Secretary of Defence. And then Colin eventually sticks the knife in. I cannot believe he said this to me, but this is true. He looked at me, squared up to me. And he said, your problem, Andrew, is you are just a contrarian, right? You just want to be offensive. He said, everything about you is offensive. Everything about you is offensive, right? The things you say are offensive. The way you dress is offensive. Even your cats are offensive. I said, what the hell have Ian and Myra done? Not fair, is it? Anyway, you've been really lovely.